Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. My name is Jared Moon, and sitting with me today is Joseph VonDohlen. How's it going, man?
Great, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Super pumped to have you here. I just for multiple reasons. You know, you've been around for a long time. You've trained at my house. We've done Murph together. You came out. You were actually in a good spot in Oklahoma to be able to come down and visit. And now if you ever end up in North Carolina, the doors are open, man. The doors are open. But
dude, lucky for you, next week, man.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned you're coming this way, I think. Well, yeah, dude, hit me up. Hit me up when you come down. But I want you to intro yourself, you know, who you are, what you do, and how you train.
Sure, absolutely. Joseph VonDohlen, career enlisted aviator in the United States Air Force for 15 years now, multiple different airplanes, and we can get into that, but that's for a different podcast. Essentially, I'm a father. I'm a husband just like anybody else. Don't necessarily have a garage gym right now, but still train like a garage gym athlete.
And that's a big point I like for everyone to know is I wrote this years ago, is that to be a garage gym athlete is more of like a mindset, you know, in how you tackle training and how nothing's going to stop you from training. It doesn't matter where you're training at. If there's no gym, if it's a global gym on base in your case, whatever it is, you can still be a garage gym athlete at heart. And we've had more than a few people on the podcast who are not training in the garage, either their basement or they are on base or they are, you know, going to a gym, but you can still benefit from the type of training. And the main part there is being an athlete. And you specifically, I consider you an athlete in a lot of regards because I know how fast you can run 1.5 miles, which is pretty intimidating. Most of the time I see the screenshots of your 1.5 mile time for the Air Force PT test, and then also you can lift some pretty serious weight. So what's your what you working with on base right now as far as training?
Right. So in Okinawa, where I'm stationed, we don't necessarily have a garage gym or a garage at all in our base housing. So luckily for us, there's a few facilities we can use. On the base I'm stationed, we have a pretty good setup. It's literally a rig in the middle of what you would think is a Globo gym. So it's literally surrounded by leg press machines and cable curls, and when you want to do curls for the girls, you know.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of the best of both worlds in that regard. But again, for me, bread and butter is a barbell, some dumbbells, a kettlebell, and a pull-up bar.
That's it, man. That's what you need. So why did you head down this path, minimalist training? Because working out on base, you do have access to anything and everything. So some people choose to go this minimalist route because maybe out of necessity, you know, they can't make it to the gym anymore. It's too far, too expensive, or whatever. That's not the case for you. So why still train minimalist style when you have every bit of fitness equipment available to you?
Right. Just because you have everything in the world doesn't mean you need to use it, right? So you can get fit pretty much by using the basics, essentially. Your body, if that's all you have. You can get a good workout with just your body. So if you're on a desert island, if you're deployed somewhere where there is nothing, if you don't have time to drive across town 20 minutes to make the gym, you can work out with very little. You have several programs yourself, you know, one man, one kettlebell, one man, one body weight. One man, I guess the one man system, I guess.
Yeah, all three of them, the trifecta.
Yeah, right. So, and the one man, one barbell, of course, which I grew up on. So the the idea that you need a lot of stuff just to get fit is not true. You really don't. And to be honest, life changes. Things are gonna not always be ideal for you, and you might not have everything. So if you get into the mindset that you need a lot, you're gonna want it. And then when you don't have it, you kind of lose your mind.
You know, to that point, when I back in the day when all I did was the bodybuilding style stuff, that I would go on, week-long trips, 2-week-long trips or whatever, and if I couldn't access a gym, I would end up basically doing nothing because back then I needed every single isolation machine and like my perfect setup to be able to train. And now if I go on a trip, it's not a question of whether or not I'm training. It's just a matter of what I'm doing. What I have access to, it's still going to go down. But yeah, back in the day, I was almost paralyzed by having too much. So that's a really good point.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of options sound awesome, but it can be paralyzing. Absolutely.
So what are some of your goals right now?
Oh man, right now it's wintertime, right? So it's bulking season essentially.
Yeah.
For me, I never really bulk that well. I'm just not a good person that can gain a lot of weight like that. I'm a pretty light guy. I usually hover between 165, 170. So for me, functional strength. That's my number one goal right now. So trading some of that speed that you talked about for lifting big weight.
Awesome, man. And so how long has it been since you've been training, let's just say minimalist garage gym athlete style? How long have you been doing that?
So that's kind of a funny story. We actually started at a global gym because, like a lot of people, my wife and I were doing some bodybuilding stuff, and that was kind of our bread and butter for a while. But it's not sustainable when you're on the road. I'm a flyer, so I'm gone quite a bit, and hotel gyms suck. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, so I got into the minimalist training probably late 2013.
Okay.
So right around that time, I found your site back in the day when it was a blog,
Yeah.
and started incorporating some of that stuff. And I was like, you know what, I kind of like this better. So played around with it a bit. Suffered an injury actually, not because of your training or what we were doing. Actually, in a mud run in a Spartan race, I dislocated my shoulder.
Ouch.
That was scary, and but it helped me to realize that the bodybuilding style of stuff wasn't making me harder to kill. It wasn't making me more mobile or more functional. So I kind of slowly transitioned everything over to the functional training. And by, May of 14, I was all in.
That's awesome, man. So tell me about this dislocation a little bit more. Was it like full dislocation? You're like walking around with like your shoulder like out of socket. Someone had to throw it back in, or was it a like minor dislocation, or what?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So imagine crawling through low crawling through mud, essentially, and my left hand just kind of slipped out in the mud, slipped right from underneath me, and the shoulder comes out the bottom.
Oh.
So I kind of dragged myself through the mud there, get out the other side, and for me, I've been studying exercise science for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Finally doing my capstone right now. Super pumped about that.
Awesome.
Sidetrack.
Congrats, man.
Anyway, appreciate it. And anyway, so throw it back in, doing the first response self-aid buddy care stuff that I know from my training. Get it reset, snap a photo with the wife real quick, and off to the hospital we go.
Nice.
And that photo exists, by the way. I'll share that with you.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. We can put it in the show notes for this episode. That's awesome, dude. So
Awesome.
you've what have some of the results been? I mean, transition. It sounds like we have a very similar journey. Like I even transitioning from more bodybuilding style to functional fitness. I mean, I'm right alongside. And my wake up call, basically the reason I decided to transition was a friend's dad came to the gym. We were working at a global gym at the time, and he was like, the quote was, you should do a real man's workout. And I was like, dude, we're lifting heavy weight. Like, what are you talking about? And so it was basically a CrossFit workout he put us through, and it destroyed me, absolutely destroyed me. And I was like, I've been working out for years at this point, and I'm like, I can't even handle this 3-minute workout. I have no capacity. I'm not an athlete. I'm just sitting here trying to polish my guns, all vanity based. So similar story, but you've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it for a while. What have some of the results and accomplishments you've been able to achieve with this style of training?
For me, it was my PT test. So that's kind of the most important thing for every military athlete that you're going to see, especially for the average guy, right? I know that the Army is different from the Marines, from the Air Force. I'm an Air Force guy, so mine revolves around running 1.5 miles as fast as humanly possible, or at least, less than a certain time cap. That time cap for me is 100%. And if it's not, then I'm redoing it the next day. I'm just like that. So for me, some of the results have been scoring 100% the last 5 consecutive years. In the 3 consecutive years before that, 99 point something. That little bit just to piss you off. And so, once I started functional training, though, you can really see it when you go back and look at those metrics. You can see that split going from 99 point something to 100 and then maintaining that for the last 5 years.
And that's hard to not only achieve but maintain over that long period. I know a lot of people who maybe in their career got like 100 or another 100, but it's not something they do consecutively year after year. And so that's awesome. But also, out of curiosity, what's your fastest ever 1.5 mile time?
I'm kind of embarrassed to say. It's an 8:42.
Dude, that embarrassed why? That's so amazing.
Well, it's not about me. Like, yeah. I don't like to talk about myself. My wife will tell you, man, like anytime you do good things at work and you get recognized for the good things that you do, yeah. I'm the guy that always tries to shy away or be conveniently unavailable for that. So
no, I understand that, man. I just I had mentioned at the beginning, so I knew people wanted to know, like, oh, what's a fast 1.5 miles? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fast 1.5 miles. The only people beating that are like true, like runners. Like I'm talking like that's all they do is run. So for you to be able to balance it all is very impressive to me. So, I mean, we kind of talked about you were doing bodybuilding before, garage gym athlete training, but how do you? I guess the question for you would be, how do you manage it all, man? Because the flyer lifestyle, deployments, sometimes deployments training can actually get a little bit easier, but how do you manage it all? I know you travel a lot and got a lot going on, so how do you manage all that?
I just treat it like my job, man. You got to go to work every day. You have to get your kids ready for school. You have to pick them up. You got to take them to their events. Make training one of yours. It's important to me, to my core. It's important to who I am. And so I make time for it. And it really comes down to that. There's no secret sauce here. So it's you do what you got to do. If you're in a hotel, or you're halfway across the world and in a austere location where there is nothing, you find stuff to work out with. I used to do a job where we would exercise all the time. Not physically, but exercise training, right? Military training. And so we would deploy places where there was no gym, there was no barbell, there was not even a single pull-up bar, because we don't like to go anywhere where there's trees for some reason. It's weird like that with the military.
Yeah.
So you do what you got to do. And what I would do was find extra equipment laying around. Hey, there's a spare tire. Let me go flip that thing, 20 times as fast as I can. Someone will see you doing that, come over, strike up a conversation, and then there's kind of like, hey, I bet you I can do this faster than you. Next thing you know, you got a PT session on your hands, and things go down. So it's just being creative. It's looking around, seeing what's available to you, and using it.
That's awesome, man. I know one of the busiest time periods, should I say, when I had the least amount of time to train was in the military, and very similar situation. I did. I wouldn't have a lot of time, so it would either be as many burpees as possible in like the 5, 7, 10-minute range, and that's it. I mean, who doesn't have 5 to 7 minutes to just like knock something out real quick, or kettlebell swings, something like I would do some stupid stuff with kettlebell swings, just like as many kettlebell swings as you can possibly do unbroken, and then just call that your workout for the day. It doesn't always have to be this like epic session. Well, I'm all about the program, and and, you know, building upon what you've done in the past, you know, sometimes you just got to get it done. I think that's a great point.
Absolutely, man. And there's nothing that says you can't work out more than once a day. So if you only get 5 minutes in the morning and you got an extra 20 minutes after work each day, take advantage of that 20 minutes. Now you have a 25-minute workout instead of just the 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude, I used to do 2 a days, and to be honest, I think that I should just start doing them again. I think that's the most enjoyable when you're working out that much.
It is. I mean, that's when you get the most buff, right?
Yeah. I mean, so what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Oh, dude, I knew this question was gonna come, and I've been thinking about it the past couple days because I've done some pretty tough workouts. The one physically most hardest workout that I've ever done was probably Randy. So 75 snatches at 75 pounds for time. I felt like it lit my chest up like ET, man. I was huffing and puffing. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was gonna die. And this was my first event of a local CrossFit competition. I wanted to drop out, dude. Like I was lit up, and I'm serious. But as far as mentally, I did a Spartan Beast in 2016 to round out my trifecta, and there's this one section where it's probably a 40% grade uphill, and you're carrying this half a log that's probably like 75 or 80 pounds. You have to shoulder it and carry it up this thing. And I'd walk 10 feet and drop it, and walk 10 feet and drop it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here? This is so stupid. I can't believe people pay for this. So that's probably the most mentally challenging workout that I've done, is that particular event on that particular race.
So I have done one Spartan Beast, and it was not a good experience for a lot of reasons. The race actually was bad. They almost like canceled it because there was like flooded out, and so I really want to do another one. Everyone tells me I should do another one for that reason. But similar, like you fill up this bucket full of rocks. I'll never forget it because I was walking up this, you know, I mean it was in Texas. So I in my memory it was a mountain, but really it's a hill. It's a really, really steep hill, walking up with this. And I just remember, like, so I'm already training the way I should be training at this point, and, you know, pretty fit, pretty strong. And I just remember walking up this hill with this heavy bucket and, yeah, keep wanting to set it down. I mean, I set it down multiple times, but I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is really freaking hard. But then I look around, and it's like all these people who, I don't know, just kind of signed up on a whim. They don't train that much, you know, like they're getting it done. And I was like, that to me made me question my mental toughness for a second. I'm like, they don't really look like they're like thinking that this is challenging or like, you know, kind of any negative self-talk going on or anything. And so, yeah, that was also a huge checkpoint for me. That those Spartan races, they'll do the work somewhere at some point.
Absolutely,
it might
man.
Not be the whole race, but somewhere.
And right after that log, maybe another mile or two down, was the bucket of rocks, and
Yeah.
it sucked all over again. I mean, I was hating life that day, but you know, looking back at it, it's one of the best things I've done.
Yeah, I want to definitely get to. I think I want to do the trifecta next year. Is what I would like to do. As long as my shoulder remains healthy, then I will be getting that done.
Sure, right, man. Let me know.
All right, man. So, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Carrying a bucket of rocks.
Yeah.
No, I mean that'll make him pretty mentally tough there. You're definitely gonna want to quit during that. But building mental toughness, man, it really comes down to doing the things you don't want to do. I wish I could put my thumb on it and tell you exactly one activity that's all you need to do and you're good to go. But it's really not. It's to steal something from Jocko, discipline. Yeah. Having the discipline to get up and just get it done, whatever it is for you, work related, life related, training related, get up and do it.
Yeah, man, discipline. I mean, in a one-word answer, I think that is the ultimate mental toughness builder. Because to even use the word discipline, that means you're most likely doing something that you don't. It's not that you don't want to do, but it is difficult to do for you to do on a daily basis. Because it's very easy for me to sit down and watch TV every day. I could do that. It doesn't take a lot of discipline, sure. You know. But anything else that is whether it's training related or my job or stuff with my kids, that all takes discipline, if you want to be good at it. And it does build a ton of mental toughness.
Yeah, and to elaborate just a little bit, using the bucket of rocks example, right? So when it sucks, the first thing you want to do is put it down. So yeah, you put it down, but you have the discipline to put it down for 5 or 10 seconds, and then you pick it back up, and you stick to that. And next thing you know, you're done with the event, and you can press on.
It's awesome. All right, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, no kidding, a barbell. Absolutely. Barbell, and of course I get the plates, right?
You get the plates, yeah.
I get the plates. Not only can you get strong with that, you could bash in a predator's head. Now you got dinner. You can make an A-frame tent with it. Now you have shelter. You can use it as a spear if you want to. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do with it, and if that's all you had, that's really all you need.
Awesome, man. All right, so I'm going to ask, before we get to the last real question of the show, I want to know, well, two things. So I lied. A few more questions. What's your biggest struggle? What's your biggest struggle? I'd say in training. Do you struggle?
No, I don't struggle at all. Everything's easy.
I knew it.
Yep, it's just smooth like butter.
Awesome.
No, man, it's a struggle every day. Not necessarily getting to the gym, but getting to the gym with the mental fortitude to be like, I'm gonna crush it today. Because some days you don't feel like it. Some days you're a little beat down. Some days it was a long flight. And you land after, a 16-hour day, and you're like, man, do I really want to go train, or can I go sleep right now and train later? The next thing you know, you miss training. So it's really tough, but yeah, you just get it done.
Awesome, man. And Joe, he's been on a few of the podcasts. He loves asking this question, so I'm going to ask it for him. And that is, if you could have it's not that necessarily one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, but if you, for Christmas, could get any piece of equipment in your house right now, saying you have the space for it and everything, what would you want as a Christmas present? What piece of equipment?
Man, that's kind of a tough one.
Yeah.
I pretty much have everything that I need, so I don't know that there's one item that I would absolutely want. So where do you get the guy that has everything? I mean, that's the ultimate question.
Do you have access to a reverse hyper?
Actually, I do, yeah.
No
I do, man. The Rogue Abram hyper would be awesome, but yeah, I have a reverse hyper.
That's awesome, dude. So, all right, man. Yeah, it's hard to beat when.
Okay, I got it. Sorry, man. Airdyne. I don't have an Airdyne.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely get one of those.
So Joe, you can mail that to my house. I'll take it, and I'll put it right here on the patio.
We'll put it put it in your living room or something.
We'll take this tree down and put it right there.
The only acceptable way to watch TV from now on an Airdyne. All right, man. So a lot of garage gym athletes listening to this all around the world, some of them just starting, some of them experienced like yourself, but what would be your best advice for everyone out there, for garage gym athletes?
You're training alone, but you don't have to. Just because we're garage gym athletes, a lot of times we do train alone. It's just us, our programming, we crank up the music and we go. But it's also important for us to instill that in other people. So bring someone along with you on your journey. If you're out doing the Iron Mile and you run across someone who's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Be like, hey, come find out. Here, take this barbell, walk home with me real quick, and you'll find out what I'm doing. Invite people in. I think it's important to share this culture and share this mindset with others and spread that, because, fitness is a challenge for a lot of people. And a lot of people will wait until January 1st to do something about it. Don't let them. Track them down. Bring them with you. It can only get better from there.
I love that answer, man. All right, man. It's been a blast chatting with you today. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast.
Yeah, man. No worries. Be back anytime.